Okay, let's talk about shoplifting.
What?
Let's talk about shoplifting because I have stolen a few things in my day.
What? Heather Holman?
Yeah. Candy when I was a kid.
You are so bad.
I know. Statute of limitations is up, so I can talk about the 5-cent piece of candy that I stole. I actually stole, it was a butterscotch piece of candy. You know, we used to have those Brock's stands in the grocery stores and they had
yeah.
all different kinds. Okay, so I stole a butterscotch piece of candy just because my mom wouldn't buy me a single piece of 5-cent candy. And so I remember I took it home and I was probably 5 and I unwrapped it as fast as possible in my bathroom and I was like, and then after that, I went to Sunday school and we played a game where you had to have like raw beans, like these little pinto bean type raw beans in a spoon. And you see how many you can carry to the end without dropping any. And then you add one, da da da. And so I told my mom at the grocery store the next time, I want some of those beans so I can play that game at home that we learned at church. And she was like, no, 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 no. They're just going to end up all over the house. I'm not going to do that. So I stole a handful, again, 5 years old, stole a handful of raw pinto beans. So we get home, bath time, all that stuff. And my mom is getting ready to do the laundry. And so she took my little pink knickers that I had on and reached in the pockets and pulled out a handful of these beans. And she said, "What's this?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know how they got there."
Oh, lying now too. You're
Yeah.
such a bad child.
So my dad, who's an associate pastor at a Baptist church, he calls the grocery store and he says, "Hey, I want you to know my daughter did this." And he's like, "That probably cost us a single penny, if that. Keep it. You know, it's not worth the
Oh.
paperwork." And my dad said, "No, no, no. I want to bring her in so that you can scold her and terrify her about shoplifting," which was actually a really cool parenting move on my
Yeah.
dad's part. So I'm bawling the whole way back. He makes me, put back your clothes on, and I'm like, "But it's a school night. Can I please stay?" No. And so we are on our way to the grocery store. I'm crying. We get there, and I never will forget this. I remember what the manager looked like and everything. Bald headed, bigger guy, white dress shirt and a tie. And he gets down on one knee and he looks me straight in the eye. And again, he was fine with me he's doing this for show.
Yeah.
And he looks at me and he goes, "Do you know that your daddy could go to jail for what you did?" And I was like, "No," the waterworks just. And so I was like, "I'm so sorry." And I gave my dad a big hug and he was like, you have to promise me, young lady, you will never steal again." "I promise." And I never have again. That is a life lesson that's always stuck
good.
with me.
Yeah.
And then Briar, when Briar's now 19, when Briar was about like 13, 14 months old, I took her out of the shopping cart, put her down while I'm getting everything out of the cart. I turn around and she had discovered for the very first time there's candy on these aisles.
Oh no.
And so I turn around and she had opened one of those Cadbury eggs and it was all over her face. She was halfway down and she was looking at me like, "Did you know they make these? These are amazing. Oh my gosh." Like her eyes were like this big.
Yes.
It was so funny. And I said, "Well, I guess I'm paying for that too."
Yeah. Oh.
So when you were a kid, did you ever do anything like that?
No, I did have a group of friends go into this convenience store that we used to go into all the time, growing up. And we were probably, I don't know, 5th or 6th grade, I guess. And we're stacked, going to the movie theater or something. So we're trying to grab a couple pieces of candy to put in our pockets,
Mm-hmm.
And I saw 2 of my friends over there just kind of in a huddle on the candy aisle, and they're like, I saw one of them grab a long stick of Laffy Taffy and put it in her pocket.
Oh,
I didn't say anything, and I probably should have, but I think I was just sort of in shock, kind of like, what is going on here? Who? I don't really know my friends as well as I thought I did,
mm-hmm.
and took my candy up there and paid for it and sort of got quiet and got in the car with their mom and, went about it. And I never talked about it again, but
Mm-hmm.
I also used to work when I was in college. I would come back to my hometown, and my dad knew the guy that owned Big Lots in Fort Smith, where I was from, and I worked at Big Lots during the summer. And I saw several people steal things from the candy that was right around the cash register constantly.
Oh.
And I would tell, like, I'd bump one of the other employees that were with me, and she had no fear, and she'd say, "You better take that out of your pocket right now. I saw what you did." And she would confront all of them. I was too afraid
Was she
to.
older than you?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I was, she was a lifelong Big Lots worker. So
Oh.
I would just kind of say, bump her and say, and I saw what you put in your pocket. You take it out right now.
That's so
So
cool.
yeah,
I love people like that.
I know.
Okay, so shoplifting unfortunately is prevalent, but there are multiple forms, different ways to do it,
Yeah.
which include stealing something, then taking it back to get your money back. And so there's a woman that police would like to talk to in Oklahoma City about something similar. They say that we have a picture for you. They say that this woman, within a period of 1 hour, investigators say she visited both Oklahoma City malls, so Quail Springs and Penn Square. Allegedly, this is their accusation, making more than $1,000 in fraudulent returns.
Ooh.
So, if you think you recognize her, of course, they want you to call Oklahoma City police. But that's a bold move right there.
It is bold. It's kind of smart. I mean, if the stuff hasn't been, flagged as stolen, but it is bold.
Yeah, she's carrying is that a J.C. Penney bag?
Does that look like a receipt in her hand, though? Did that not look like a receipt? Did you see that?
I mean, she could have bought other things.
See that right there? That white.
Oh, no, that's like a box or something.
Oh, is it?
I don't think that's a receipt. I don't
Yeah.
know.
It looks like a receipt
You think so?
because she's holding it in between her fingers. Looks like
Yeah, right there. See her fingers right there?
I guess. Still,
Still,
I don't
though,
know
not
how they
cool, not
determined that
cool.
it's $1,000 worth of fraudulent things.
Yeah,
I guess the cashier would be the one to have to alert the manager, call the police.
yeah. Well, when someone leaves with something, I mean, I know they inventory everything, but how do they know that that was already stolen? And I mean, because you would have to go through and count this shirt, this shirt, this shirt. Yep, we're down one of. You know what I mean? And you have to scan. Like, how do you know?
It could even be coming up, creating your own fraudulent receipt.
Oh,
They can
yeah.
do anything these days. Who knows? And they could probably tell it's fake. Like whenever I used to work at a clothing store in the mall when I was a teenager, we would have people, they would bring clothes back that reeked of cigarette smoke and that would have makeup all over it. We're like, we know you've worn this. And so, but the tags would be attached, and that was the return policy. The tags had to be attached. Here's how they did it. We would look at the little plastic part where you attach the tags. Those weren't our tags. Like ours were clear, those were black. When we're like, oh, so do you have a gun at home that you use, your reattachment tag?
Yes.
And but still, we had to give them their money back. And they were rude about it. They were like, you still get my tags are attached. I didn't do that. That's your return policy. I've never forgotten that because I felt so taken advantage of, even though I was just a little employee there. But just like she thinks she's swindling me, and I know that
And I can't do nothing about it.
yeah, and we can't sell the clothes like that. We just had to. I don't remember what we did with them with clothes like that, but
Yeah.
um, yeah. So it was a loss for the company, which did end up going out of business.
Which place did you
It
work
was
at?
called Stewart's in Shawnee Mall. I
Oh,
worked there for a couple of years in high school.
okay.
I got a 30% off discount. That's where I bought all my clothes.
Nice. So
Yeah.
you were gas with all those
I was
clothes.
gas. I did buy a few things that were kind of buns, but mostly gas.
My sister worked at J.C. Penney's. This is a funny story. At least I think it is. She worked at J.C. Penney's whenever she was in graduate school, and she was living back at home. And she's 7 years older than me. So I was in like middle school, for just starting high school, and she would always come in with all these new outfits, and she had bought herself some new Timberlands and all this kind of stuff. She would go to work in the morning before I went to school, and I would go into her closet and grab her brand new clothes and put it on and wear it to school. She found out and was mad as you know what. And so she had her boyfriend at the time, which is now her husband, go to Ace Hardware or Lowe's, buy a lock for the door, and came back and installed it. And I can remember walking in to go, she left for work the next day, walking into, Why can't I open her door?
What am I going to wear to
Oh
school
my
today?
gosh.
I had my whole outfit planned
I
from her
know.
closet.
I was so mad. I was so mad that she was smart enough to go get a lock to put on her door so I wouldn't take all of her brand new clothes. But
I did something similar with my next door neighbor who was 16 and I was probably like 8 or 9. And she'd say, "Hey, does your mom have some clothes that I can wear?" And I'd be like, "My mom would probably be fine with that. Well, yeah, let me go see." And I would bring my mom's clothes next door to her, including like my mom's cute little turquoise, like actual turquoise on it. That was cool at the time, belt, and all these things. And my mom's like, "Have you guys seen where half of my closet went?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Shannon's borrowing it next door." She's like, "What? Can you go please and get everything back?"
you must have been a fun kid.
I mean, my poor parents, and I'm a twin, so they had 2 of us to deal with. But yeah, I could tell you stories. Like, anyway, I was ornery as a kid, but
Me too.
what's funny is that when you're 8 or 9 years old, you're like, "Oh yeah, my mom's a good person. She'd love to share." And then that girl, for her to be 16 and go, "Hey, can I borrow some of your mom's clothes?"
Yeah,
What?
I know, right?
But my mom was a pretty snazzy dresser, so that's why.